Pashupati Advani joins us live with his fundamental take. Pashupati, good morning and thank you for joining us. What do you make of yesterday's hope and hype rally? Everyone is of the view that a messiah called Narendra Modi will turn things around.
Well, the reason why today has gone to sleep is because everyone has taken a step back and said, what did we do yesterday? So I think
I'm asking you.
No, I think it's highly speculative. I mean, people are saying all the way from 2 states to 3 states to 4 states, and the euphoria is obviously going to be there if there's 4. But if you look at it and take a step back, then you all of a sudden say, is the market going to go up 500 points? Probably not, because the fundamentals have not really changed, and all the other emerging markets were off yesterday. It's only because we had the election factor that we were up.
So do you think it's the taper uncertainty, though, which is somewhat holding the market
absolutely
back?
Absolutely. I mean, I personally don't believe that the tapering is likely to happen, but the fact of the matter is that as long as there's some uncertainty, I'm old enough to have been taught by Janet Yellen at college, actually. So, I have to maybe see if she'll take my phone call again. But, the fact of the matter is that everyone is concerned that the US could pull the plug. I personally don't believe that it's going to happen anytime soon, because I feel that she has to get into the job in January and then take over, and it probably won't happen till April or May, before she...
Did you look at the US GDP data? Above 3%. India is growing at 4.8. US GDP is now above 3%.
Well,
so
that's
maybe
good
they
for
could pull that.
Well,
I mean,
that's
good bad for us. That's tapering.
No, but 3% growth in the US is good for the whole world. I mean, I think that'll drive consumerism again in the US, and then, that'll be further expansion of credit, and then, buying. But again, I was also hearing mixed reports. This time at Thanksgiving, there wasn't so much credit, consumer buying, and, Americans are looking for sales, and it seems to have been a little cooler. So there's some lag effect, and the numbers are not exactly what you see.
But the other talking point today is Power Grid FPO. Pashupati, what explains the price action in Power Grid? This has been dog of a stock. Last 2 years, Power Grid has done nothing. But now, suddenly it's got a terrific institutional response. Not that the FPO was priced very attractively, only a 5 rupee token discount. But look at the response.
Well, I think the fact is that when you're offering quality stocks, and at the end of it all, Power Grid is a decent company that makes money. And people are beginning to look at the power sector again. This is a chance to get a big offering of shares. If you are interested in the sector, trying to buy Power Grid in the market 3 months ago was tough. Whereas in the FPO, you're going to have a chance to buy some stock. And, of course, the Indian institutions would be slightly more aggressive because, they want to make sure that the FPO all get done. And there's a whole slew of them still to come. And, one success begets another.
Pashupati, how should one invest in this kind of a market? Because markets are no longer cheap. Cyclicals have seen some degree of run-up. Earnings are not very strong, but there is a hope that we have an economic bottom in place.
Well, I think that today, of course, is a non-event day because everyone is set up to the results on Monday. And once the results are announced, then the market will either gap up a little bit, or if it goes the wrong way, it'll, according to me, go down a lot. Because the expectation seems to be very high that the BJP is going to sweep all the 4 states. I think what is happening is that, we are seeing fresh money simply because the rupee has been depreciating against the dollar. And people are coming to nibble at lower levels. So whenever there any kind of correction, either in dollar or in stocks, you are seeing some nibbling from long-term investors, feeling that there will be some kind of governance and, some kind of positive action going forward. However, this is a state elections, and, the national elections are 6 months away. God knows what's going to happen in Parliament in the winter session, what they're going to pass. But then after that, we're going to be shut down because I guess the election code will be announced by January.
What are you trying to arrive at?
So that, that fundamentally we are really not going anywhere, but I think that as the rupee gets weaker, people are going to come and nibble. So it's going to be a function of more of the rupee rather than the market.
Fair point. But Pashupati, do you feel that this shift in the sectoral bets that we've seen, IT, pharma, FMCG came off yesterday while banks stood tall? Do you think now the market, wherever it moves up 5 months from now, whenever, there will be that shift wherein perhaps the sectors which have led us up until now to 6,200 will somewhat take a beating, and there will be emergence of the beaten down names?
No, I mean, I think that we're looking at what are the actionable items in terms of if there's a sweep by the BJP in all the 4 states. So people people have gone out of defensive stocks, which are IT and pharma, and have gone into aggressive stocks, which are banks and infra. And that shift has happened over the last 2-3 days. And most of it, I guess, has happened yesterday.
Right.
But I think that, on Monday, if the result is positive, then there'll be a larger shift. And if the result is, positive meaning 4 to BJP, and if there is it's say 2 to BJP only, then I think the shift will be back, and then there'll be chaos. But I think there is a move to be more aggressive because they feel that things are going to move.
But do you think this move could backfire? If one works with the assumption that we will have a BJP government after May 2014, what can Narendra Modi do to kickstart the economy? He does not have a magic wand. I mean, the problems are so deep-rooted that you cannot spin this 800-pound gorilla.
No, that's true. But I think that we are having problems, say for example, with WTO because of the fact that we're giving grain away. Now, I think that the idea of giving grain at a reasonable price is a good idea, but the fact is that it's being done in such a crazy fashion that it's not making sense, and it has still lots of holes and lots of chance for grain to disappear, as it's been doing for the last so many years. And I think that those are the kinds of issues that need to be addressed. We cannot get kicked out of WTO, whatever they say. So Anand Sharma standing there saying no, but we're going to continue to give grain to 70% of our population doesn't fly. So we have to have that balance of real pricing, which I think is happening, say for example in diesel. And petrol, of course, it's already there, but diesel, for example. And I think the fact that diesel is going up 50 paisa a month, eventually it'll come into line, and then the OMCs will be a lot better.
What about the Indian steel space? I mean, we've already lifted off significantly from the August lows. Is there anything that you like there?
Well, fundamentally not a lot has changed, and that's what's kind of scary, because we've not yet seen the uptick in manufacture. Car dealers are saying nobody's buying cars. Two-wheelers, maybe there is some buying, but the numbers are not spectacular. The numbers are lower. So, it is a lag effect. But the fact is that, I think our infrastructure vis-a-vis steel is kind of getting better. The coal linkages are improving, and the ore is getting sorted out. But, the fact of the matter is that we had natural resources of coal and ore, which were exports up till 3-4 years ago, and now are imports. So unless we redress that balance, then the steel industry will come into being. But I think, that infrastructure has to be sorted out, and I think that's going to take time. The magic wand has to be spent on getting those things sorted out.
So stay away from the metals for now?
No, I see people are coming in. Again, it's the question of the defensive versus the aggressive and the high beta. So they're going into what they think are good stocks. So good stocks would be, the L&Ts, the State Bank, ICICI, the liquid names. They're not coming to the second tier names. A lot of the second tier mid caps and small caps haven't moved at all. So,
You talked about autos, and sure enough, one can see as to how the demand is only petering down in the monthly sales data. So should one stick to global exposure plays like a Tata Motors, or stay away completely from the auto space?
Well, from what I gather, JLR is the only company not giving discounts. So, I mean, that's maybe the reason why they're going overseas. But obviously the Tatas are also saying to us that we don't believe the market is here.
Yeah.
So they feel the market is in South America, obviously, and the way we force car companies to manufacture here, they are probably looking at Brazil as a focal point for the whole of South America, and that's probably why they're looking at it. It's a long-term strategic decision. And one thing is that they're definitely a leader in their space, and it seems to me very clear that the businesses that they're in, that they're good at, they're going to stay in and invest more money in. So, that's what they're doing.
So later in the month, we've got a Fed, we've got RBI policy, and then the typical year-end unwinding. So as the year unwinds, do you think traders and investors would rush in to lock some gains, especially in cyclicals?
Yeah, I think this year what's happened is that most of the international traders or foreign traders are in loss because of the dollar. So there probably isn't going to be the flurry. The last 2 or 3 years we've had everyone in profit, and so they've booked some profits and done some, put some cash on the table at year end. This time, I think, the Nifty is up 8%, but after you take the dollar into account, it's down. So, I think that, so who knows? I mean, I think that it'll be a function of, I think it'll be a quiet year. I don't think it'll be as exciting as it's been the last 2 or 3 years. And also, I'm not seeing fresh allocations come to India. I think they're less than previously, so I don't even think we're going to have a big January.
So give me some stocks to buy. What are your ideas for 2014? Where are you allocating capital? I know you've sold your shares in the HUL open offers. You're sitting on a lot of cash. How are you allocating that cash?
No, I think, I am actually looking at things like the power sector. I actually feel that as efficiencies improve, there's going to be scope. I don't want to mention specifics, so I'm still doing homework. And also,
too late, my friend. Stocks
outside the Nifty names.
Sorry.
Outside the Nifty names.
No, outside the, well, So I was saying, I think those sectors. I kind of look at it top down. So I'm looking at things like power, which I think are interesting. Auto ancillaries, I think, is another interesting space, because I think the replacement market is also very strong. And, people will, India as it is, people keep their cars a long time. So maybe, those are sectors that one should look at.
Of course, car companies, tire companies, battery companies.
Yeah, stuff like that.
Both?
Yeah, I mean, tire companies, I think, would be a good bet.
Seat and Excite both?
Seat, Excite, Amar Raja maybe, the Apollo, if you want to play some merger up. Because I actually think that Apollo is going to end up buying Cooper at some point. So I think
that's bad news.
I don't think it's bad news long term.
Yeah, Tata Motors sank when they acquired JLR.
I mean, Apollo stock is holding on because that Cooper tire deal is off. Imagine if they end up acquiring Cooper tire, Pashupati, they'll end up really destroying the balance sheet. They'll have to raise about $2-3 billion.
No, that's basically being raised overseas. It's not being raised on this.
That'll come on your balance sheet, but.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's a $400 million company that, is trying to raise $2 billion to buy a company. But it puts them as a leading player. And it also says that India Inc. is looking overseas, which is actually what I'm actually scared about, that they're not looking at putting new investment into India. They're looking at doing it overseas. So.
What about banks? Of late, one has seen, some activity pick up in the PSU lot. Is it worth a buy?
Well, the PSUs are going to have, QIPs and FPOs happening. So I think this is just going to be dilutive. And I think that, you'll have your chance to buy them. Of course, they are the ones, the frontline ones are the ones to move if the market is moving up, and that they're going to be the drivers. But, the next level, they're going to get money from the government, and the problems are not over yet.
Pashupati, in last 2 years, or I would say last 3 years, quality has really ruled Indian markets. HDFC Bank, Asian Paints, Sun Pharma. Do you think quality names will take a backseat, or because of global liquidity, the P multiple for some of these quality names will continue to expand?
Fresh money comes in, and it's coming into a half a dozen of the really big funds who are continuing to buy the same names. And, it's a kind of self-perpetuating. So, as the market goes up, they buy more. And it is dangerous because it's kind of a bubble. But, at the end of it all, the US, you've got this wonderful sector called the internet sector. So every so often there's a $10 billion offering which sucks money, or, a sort of a Twitter or something like that. So we need ours to come in the market. I mean, Just Dial is one example. Maybe there are 3 or 4. And so we've seen Just Dial rocket, okay? Simply because it was the only one in that space. Now there'll be 2-3 others. So I'm saying that as that comes, that is like fresh, sort of, if you can call it speculative money or air money. It's not traditional investment money, but money goes into it because those are real businesses. Those are cash flow businesses, eventually.
Do you like InfoEdge? Because that's an internet company. They own Naukri.com. They have investment in Zomato. They also own, Jeevansathi.com.
Yeah, but, the issue with InfoEdge is it's going to look like a holding company. So then you'll have the holding company discount. I'd rather wait for the Zomato at whatever price. And then, I use it, so I think it's a good app. Maybe they'll send me a 5 rupee check for giving them a plug.
You've seen many bull and bear market cycles. Give me one stock which you've been holding on from last 10 years and you have intentions to hold on for another 5 years.
For another 5 years? Well, one is ITC, the other one is Godfrey Phillips. They're both in the cigarette space mainly.
You don't smoke?
No, I know, but I think the rest of the country does.
It's an expensive stock.
Both of them? Which? ITC is?
Yeah.
But Godfrey is not.
So which is a better one if someone has to...
Well, Godfrey is a very illiquid stock. It cannot be... institutional is very difficult. The volumes are only 2,000-3,000 shares a day. I've had it for a long time and will probably continue to have it until Philip Morris writes a big check. It'll follow ITC. And, what's interesting is the volume of cigarettes is going up. So I think that is the silent driver to both those companies.
You had bought into ITC, of course, a long time back. But for someone who put in their money, say, about a year back, consumption as a theme seems to be somewhat tiring out. And this is not just true for ITC, but the entire sector per se.
No, but the issue with ITC is that the dominant part of its business is still cigarettes.
Yeah.
And that is actually doing well without advertising, without, the volumes are going up. So even though, you have the odd excise and you've got to now smoke in a room and you can't smoke in your office, the volumes are still going up. So, something is happening. And these rules could change the other way. I mean, people could say we want to smoke, and we've got a youth driving us, and they may say we want to smoke in our offices and smoke on the roads. I mean, in our homes and stuff. So I think that may happen. That's a trend that may reverse. And it's already starting to happen in certain countries.
Okay, I'll throw a stock at you, and that's Eicher Motors. Can we look at first the 1-year chart for Eicher Motors, maybe followed by a 2-year chart and a 3-year chart? Pashupati, here's one stock which is part of the auto business. Their large bread and butter business is still the CV business. CV business in India has completely cracked down.
Yeah.
Why is Eicher Motor moving from strength to strength? It has been a massive outperformer.
It's a well-run company. I wanted Royal Enfield dealership. That's what I believe is somewhere in there. No, I'm just saying it's a well-run company. It's taken niche products and it's managed. See, again, in this world, if you are able to do something very good, people will come to you. And I think the spaces that they're in, they're obviously doing the right thing that the customers come to them for. So, I mean, in a sense, you can say like cigarettes, okay? People smoke classic wills because they come to classic wills and they do a good job. So, people come to it. They don't advertise anymore. They're not allowed to.
Final question. Give me a large cap IT stock you're bullish on, because the pecking order has changed. It's no longer Infosys. It is either TCS or HCL Tech. Do you think
Wipro.
Or Wipro. Actually, Wipro is down the ladder. It's been dog of a stock. So for 2014, do you think outperformers of 2013 will continue to outperform, or the leadership will change within large cap IT?
See, within large cap IT, I personally, out of those 4, like HCL Tech. Not for any other reason, because it's been the sort of sleeper of the 4 and is now starting to catch up. Second would be TCS. Infosys, I think, is trying to do a model change, and I don't know how successful that's going to be. So let's see. And Wipro is, who knows what happens in Wipro? Because Wipro is, to be fair, Wipro is run by one person or one model, and it could go wonderful places and could go nowhere. We don't know. But again, it's very focused. So, but as I said, my order would be HCL Tech, TCS, Wipro, and then Infi.